All right, so this is lesson number 3. And today we're going to be multiplying binomials together. So we talked about this idea of closure in lesson 2. When we add and subtract polynomials, it creates another polynomial, and it's the same thing with multiplying as well. So polynomials are closed under multiplication. So today we're just going to be starting off with binomials, and we're going to use this idea of the FOIL method. So FOIL stands for first, then we have the outside, and we have the inner, and the last. And these are the terms. So we see the first, the outer, the 2 inside, and then the 2 last. So this diagram helps, and then there's a worked out guided example here. So we're finding the product of these 2 binomials. We multiply together 8x times 2x, so 16x squared. Then we do the outer, so 8x times 5, so that's 40x. 4 times 2x would be 8x. And then the last 2, 4 times 5, which is 20. And the different colors here and the different arrows, they align to both of them, and they have the different colors here that you could follow along. So, and I put another thing here. You multiply the first, outer, inner, and last. All right, so let's do an example, a couple of examples together. So let's find the product. So let's do the first. So here's our first, and I'll use different colors too so that it can help us. So I'll get my colors here. And I'll use pink. All right, so my first 2 is x times x, which we know is x squared. Then I'm going to do my outer, so x times -6, so that's a -6x. My inner, 2 times x, so plus 2x. And then 2 times -6, so that's a -12. So my last. So -12. Essentially what you're doing is you're distributing this first term to these 2 terms in the second binomial, and then distributing the second term to both the terms. So you have to make sure you're distributing everything in the first times everything in the second, and that's going to be important for tomorrow's lesson when we multiply a binomial times a trinomial. Okay, so then after we FOIL, we have to combine like terms. So here's our like terms. We have a -6x and a positive 2x. So our final answer would be x squared minus 4x minus 12. So here's our FOIL step up here. And then we simplify, combine like terms. All right, so let's move on to the second one. So 2x times 3x. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then x times x is x squared. Then we go to the next one. So we have 2x times a -5, so -10x. The inner, so 3x. And then the last, so positive 1 times a -5 is a -5. And then we combine our like terms. So we get 6x, -10 plus 3 would be a -7x minus 5. So again, we FOILed and then simplified. All right, let's do the next one. So n times n squared. Remember, when we multiply exponents, we add them. So it's like n to the first times n to the second would be n to the third. The outer, so n times 3 would be 3n. The inner 2, so 2 times n squared would be plus 2n squared. And then, of course, the last 2 times 3, which is 6. All right, so then we just want to make sure we're writing this in standard form. There's nothing we can simplify here, but let's just write it in standard form where we decrease. It's good practice. Takes us back to lesson 1. So we'd have n cubed plus 2n squared plus 3n plus 6. So we just took it and we write in standard form. Right, so these are our first 3 examples for the FOIL method. And then there's 3 more on the next page. So as you can see, my little Bitmoji girl says, watch out, and this is why. This here is not, we do not distribute the 2 to each piece, like how we would do in exponent rules. We do not do that. In order to get this answer, we have to write out 3x plus 4 times 3x plus 4. This, and you don't have to copy this down because I don't want you to do this. This is not 9x squared plus 16. This is incorrect. We do not want that. We want to write out the 3x plus 4 times 3x plus 4. So we multiply. So we get 9x squared. And then 3x times 4 would be a plus 12x. 3x plus 4 would be plus 12x. And then 4 times 4 is 16. So our answer would be 9x squared plus 24x plus 16. So watch out for those. When you have it raised to the second power, like in number 4 and 5, you have to multiply both pieces out. This is the most common mistake that we see, okay? So let's go to the next one. So if I have 5x minus 2y times 5x minus 2y. And I'll use the colors again. I'm sorry I didn't use the colors in the last example. So 5x times 5x, my first 2 terms, would be 25x squared. Then I would go to my outer. 5x times a negative 2y would be minus 10xy. My inner, minus 10xy. And then my last 2, negative 2y times a negative 2y becomes a positive 4y squared. So when I combine like terms, the only 2 things I can combine are these 2. So I'd have 25x squared minus 20xy plus 4y squared. And this one's challenging because it has an x and a y. I just wanted to expose you to all the different types of problems you could see. But this one is a harder problem than the other ones because you have x's and y's. And then the last one is like the ones from the first page. So I just multiply the 2 times 2, or 2x times 2x would be 4x squared. Then I would have 2x times negative 1, negative 2x. And then I would have the inside 1 times 2x would be plus 2x. And then the last 2, 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. What happens here, I'll use a different color. We have a negative 2x and a positive 2x. So these are going to cancel. So then the only thing we have left is a 4x squared minus 1. And that would be our answer for this problem. Okay. The other assignments are listed on Google Classroom. Please make sure you complete those. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me.